Similar triangles can be confusing after you've spent months working with things that are congruent. Now all of a sudden they're not congruent, but they're similar. What the heck? We're going to work problems and I'll explain little things that trip people up. Welcome back. I'm Tammy and I do math for coffee. A similarity statement like this one is your map to how to read the diagram. Triangle LMN is similar to triangle RST. This is a map because the order of the letters tells you how to read it. Side LM is similar to side RS. So the 8x minus 8 is going to correspond to the 50. When we start to write these, we need to use a proportion. Remember, they're not the same size, they are proportional. So 8x minus 8 over 50 equals, well, now we need another ratio over here. Since we used 8x minus 8 on the top, we have to go back to the same triangle and get a number from there. Well, it's 104, but that 104 is on side LN. L is the first letter, N is the last letter, so it corresponds to RT, which is 65. This is important to know how to read because the triangles are going to get kind of spun around a little bit. They're not always going to be sitting in the same orientation. Most textbooks, tests, and quizzes are going to have all the sides given. It's not going to be so obvious as to what the other number is. Our proportion gets finished here with 104 over 65. Well, to solve a proportion, you do something called cross multiplication. 65 times the quantity 8x minus 8 equals 50 times 104. Multiplying through, 65 times 8x is 520x. 65 times negative 8 is going to be minus 520. And that equals 50 times 104, which is 5,200. What? How did I do that? Okay. All the numbers are so matchy-matchy. It won't stay that way because we're about to add 520 to both sides. So 520x equals 5,720. Divide both sides by 520. We get x equals 11. And we were asked to solve for x. That's all we have to do. Taking a look at the diagram, it's a nice little diagram, but the only information they gave us is that ML is parallel to BC. When you have two sides that are parallel, you have two similar triangles. There is a small one and then there is a larger one, and they both share that little corner end. I need to set up a proportion here. I'm going to start with that x plus 5. That's where my eye goes right away. The bottom part of the small triangle is actually 14 because I can see that the entire length is 140, but they told me that one piece is 126. If I subtract 126 from 140, I get 14. So I have x plus 5 over 14 equals the entire length of the large triangle, x plus 5 plus 108 over the entire length down below, 140. X plus 5 over 14 equals x plus 113 over 140. Cross multiply from here. We get 140 times the quantity x plus 5 equals 14 times the quantity x plus 113. Distributive property, 140x plus 700 equals 14x plus 1582. I'm going to do some algebra here, but I'm not going to write it down. I'm subtracting 14x from 140x. I get 126x, and I'm subtracting 700 from 1582. That leaves me with 882. Dividing both sides by 126, I get x equals 7. Miriam goes outside and she stands next to a building and goes, I wonder how tall this building is. She knows she's 5 feet tall. And she figures she can use her shadow and the building shadow to come up with a way to figure out how tall the building is. This is a similar triangles problem. There they are. The triangle down by Miriam, she's 5 feet tall. She has a friend measure her shadow because you obviously can't measure your own shadow unless you're very, very careful. So her triangle is 5 and 9. The building's shadow, which Miriam could measure, is 36 feet. She just puts an X on the height of the building. Keep in mind, you have to do this at the same time of day. If the sun angle changes, the shadows are going to change. She sets up a proportion with X over 36 equals 5 over 9. Now you just need to cross multiply. 9x equals 5 times 36. 9x equals 180. So x equals 20 feet. I'm going to let YouTube pick the next video for you to watch. If you'd like to check out the other videos in the geometry playlist, click into that playlist here. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it so much. Bye.